Hey guys, how's it going? So I've continued my dive into the roguelike genre looking for more games to play, and I found some. So in this video, I want to show you guys 4 really cool games that you need to play for yourselves because these games are really some of the most fun I've had in a while. So first off is a game called Wizard of Legend. As you might have guessed, you play as a wizard, and the gameplay loop is basically fighting through a couple of stages until you meet one of the bosses, and you need to get through 3 bosses before you reach the final stage. There are also some run modifiers and a boss rush mode, which is really nice for learning the bosses and getting some practice because they are challenging. Now what's really cool about this game is that there are over 100 spells, and most of them feel pretty unique and pretty useful in different ways. So there's tons of room to try out diverse builds and find something that really fits your playstyle, or just try out different playstyles. You can buy new spells between runs, but you also get a random one every time you kill a boss, which I really like because I think it's important for games to give you meaningful rewards for good performance. I think my favorite thing about this game is that it's not too RNG dependent. Some roguelikes really are, like if you don't get some good items, then you're going to have a much harder time. In this game, the items you get during a run can really help, but you'll also be fine without them just off your own skill. Alright, so the next game I want to show you is a really cool cyberpunk FPS called Deadlink. So this game looks, sounds, and feels really cool. It makes me happy because it just reminds me of playing Cyberpunk because I really love that game. That's another one, like if you still haven't played Cyberpunk, go and play it. Don't listen to what anyone says, it's a great game. But anyway, back to this Cyberpunk. So this game really feels unique because it has some cool mechanics that kind of force you to use everything the game gives you. What I mean by that is that you won't get by just by running around and shooting. You really need to use the abilities the game gives you and use them smartly. Basically, the way it works is that your abilities mark enemies, and when you kill those marked enemies, they drop ammo and shields and stuff that's going to keep you alive. And none of it really feels forced either because the different classes are really well designed and their abilities work really nicely. The whole game really works nicely. It feels super smooth, the combat looks and feels good, and I didn't have any bugs or anything really to complain about, which is notable since it's an early access game. And that actually just adds to the excitement for me because this is one of those early access games that already feels so good, and then there's still room for improvement and more content. Right now there are 3 classes, and runs consist of 3 multi-stage missions with a boss at the end, and there are also 3 difficulty levels, so it's definitely enough to keep you busy for a while. Like Wizard of Legend, this is a game that relies more on your own skill than RNG and upgrades, and it's really fun to feel yourself getting better on each run. The upgrades are there though, and they do definitely help. It's also a cool system because each upgrade has a passive part and then an active part that activates upon using abilities and stuff. So this really is one of the more unique FPS games I've ever played, and once you get the hang of it, it's so much fun. Do yourself a favor and give it a try. Okay, so the next game is another really unique one, and I kind of fell in love with this game at first sight because I've never played anything like it. I mean, just look at this. What exactly am I looking at, you might be wondering? Well, I'm glad you asked. This game is called Iron Mandate, and it has you controlling this weaponized worm thing and fighting against other worms to get to the top of the Citadel and sit on the Iron Throne. Or something like that, I'm not really sure. Basically, all you really need to do is steer the worm and fire your weapons. The thing is, the worm only moves through the terrain, you can't really control it in the air. The terrain also blocks projectiles, so it's really all about your movement to avoid damage and set up your shots, and also not falling off the map later on when stages look like this. After every few stages, you get a repair and the arsenal where you can buy weapons, and you also fight these worms that drop upgrades and power-ups. That's really all there is to it. It's a really simple game, but it's so well made and it's just so much fun. Oh, I should also mention that it's free, so go download it right now and have some fun. The last game I have for you guys is called Flamekeeper. You're this little fire guy, and basically you have to fight through lots of nasty critters to grab these little stones so you can charge up a big fire pit. What's cool is that you use your health to charge the pit, so that forces you to keep fighting enemies because they drop health, so you can't just run through the levels without fighting anything. Then after a couple stages of that, you have to protect this big bowl of fire, and after that you take on a boss. The thing I really like about this game is how simple it is. It feels like playing an old school arcade game, but really clean and smooth. It isn't the hardest game ever, which is fine, not every game has to be. And it's also nice because it just feels easygoing and makes you want to keep playing and finish levels. When you do finish a level, you come back to this town where you can buy permanent upgrades and some other skills from these little raccoon looking guys, and you can help them rebuild the town by finishing entire areas. This game's also early access, and like Deadlink, that gets me excited because it already feels really good and really complete, so knowing that there's still more to come is really cool. And that's that for this one, so let me know what you guys think if you're gonna try any of these. I really hope you do because these games are genuinely all so much fun. If you want to see some more games I recommend, you can click this video right here, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.